The Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Here we go. It is another edition of the Yay or Nay Show, the sports show by a sports fan for sports fans. We are talking top 25 college football. Yesterday, I gave you the AP top 25. Today, we are going to talk about the differences between the coaches poll and the AP top 25. Starting with number 25. Now, of course, in the AP top 25, Arizona State kicked it off at number 25. However, in the coaches poll, Ole Miss breaks into the top 25, which I think that's a smart play. Again, as I said, Arizona State, lots of issues, coaching issues, NCAA violations. I'm not really convinced on ASU's roster. I'm not convinced on the coaching staff to begin with. So I don't really agree with ASU being in the top 25 in regards to the AP poll. Makes a lot more sense to me for Ole Miss, a traditional, to be in the top 25. Coming in number 24, Coastal Carolina. Now, again, Coastal Carolina, another school that, I'm a little surprised. They're in the top 25. They're small. They're not a powerhouse. I'm not sure what the national guys are seeing. Keep in mind, I'm not an inside guy, so I don't have inside information. But I definitely would not look at Coastal Carolina as a team to start off in the top 25. Maybe they could win their way in if they get a couple of big wins. But look, I don't see their schedule being against anybody who could really thrust them into the top 25. But again, coaches poll has them at number 24. AP poll had them at number 22. If anything else, the coaches poll is a lot closer to where they should be if they have to be in the top 25 at all. All right, now Louisiana coming in at number 23. It's the same on both polls. Oklahoma State coming in at number 22. The Cowboys. They're an interesting team. They've got a lot to be upset about with the fact that Oklahoma, along with Texas, are now going to be leaving and going to the SEC. I know that they've made a lot of great recruitments over the past year, and their expectations are high in regards to their recruitments. So Oklahoma State coming in at number 22. Perhaps that really is a good move. Again, Coastal Carolina on the AP 25 was number 22. Washington takes a dip on the coaches poll versus where they were in the AP top 25. Washington coming in at number 21. AP putting them at 20. I believe I said yesterday it made sense that Washington would be somewhere in the top 20, but I also believe I said they would be somewhere between 20 and 25. I think the coaches poll, once again, gets it correct with Washington coming in at number 21. Penn State, they're a program that is on the move again, looking good. Honestly, I haven't seen them look very good since the loss of Saquon Barkley, but looking good. Coming in at number 20 on the coaches poll. On the AP, they're at 19. And again, it looks to me like the coaches have a little better finger on the pulse in regards to these teams and where they should land. Because Penn State at number 20, after sitting and mulling it over and thinking about it, sounds about right to me. Texas coming in at number 19. Again, proving the coaches got a little better pulse than the AP, because the AP had Texas at number 21. I said that there were high expectations for Texas this year. In all honesty, though, I still believe Texas should be thrust into the top 15. However, with that being said, the coaches have Texas at number 19. Number 18, Iowa. Iowa come in at number 18, and they stay pretty much copacetic, the same in regards to the AP and the coaches poll, coming in at number 18. Indiana, same thing for number 17. It's a mirror match in regards to the coaches poll and the AP 25. Indiana could be interesting to watch this season. Again, next week, or I should say this coming week, we are going to find out a lot, because we are now going from week 0 to week 1 in the NCAA. Miami, the Hurricanes, coming in at number 16. And, of course, in the AP, they had them at 14. I don't know. This is a tough one. Who has it right? Who has it wrong? Considering we're not talking about a big fluctuation in regards to spaces, considering we're talking about the University of Miami, who at times has looked like a roller coaster. They look really high one minute. They kind of drop and take a lull the next. So Miami coming in number 16 doesn't sound like really a bad position to be in regards to the coaches poll. Wisconsin coming in at number 15 in the coaches poll in the AP, they come in at number 12. I think Wisconsin, again, traditionally, this is about where they should be to start off the season. I think they should have to win their way in if they want to break the top 10. 15 is a good place for them to be. I kind of think 12 is a little too high, to be honest. So I am more comfortable with them being at number 15 in the coaches poll versus them being at number 12 in the AP poll. And then, of course, USC coming in at number 14. This is tough. USC, are they a top 10 team? Are they not a top 10 team? You find a lot of guys that say, how good they are, how their expectations are high for this year. How high are they? What's the ceiling? Time will tell, obviously. And again, because we did not get to watch college play ball last year, we're really guessing a little bit in regards to who's going to be where and who deserves to be where. But USC coming in at number 14 on the coaches poll, and considering they were 15 on the AP, sounds like both polls kind of feel similarly in regards to USC and where they could land when it comes to the end of the season. But it definitely still does tell me USC will be fighting for the Pac-12 title. LSU, I told you yesterday I was surprised when they came in at 16 on the AP poll. I am once again surprised on the coaches poll that they are still only number 13. If nothing else, I figured they would at least be a top 10 school. I'm surprised. Again, the coaches poll has them at number 13. And, of course, the AP has them at number 16. Oregon dropping in regards to the coaches poll to number 12. In the AP, they were 11. That's not a big drop. It's not significant. Again, tells me that both polls kind of think similarly in regards to Oregon. So I got a feeling both of them are going to be surprised. I think at the end of the year, Oregon's actually going to be a top 10 football team. I really think so. I don't know what it is about Oregon, but they have a way of pulling it off. And I think this could be the year. Not that they haven't made it before, obviously, but I think this could be yet another year where Oregon makes the top 10. Florida on the coaches poll coming in number 12. And, of course, on the AP, number 13. Again, both polls looking at the squad similarly. I kind of think, in all honesty, in my opinion, Florida is a top 10 school. But the fact that they're number 11, isn't, first of all, far outside the scope of what I'm saying when I'm talking about them being top 10. And again, it tells me that the coaches have a better pulse in regards to where these squads are in regards to their particular programs. Number 10, Cincinnati. In the coaches poll, they're 10. In the AP, they're 8. In this one, I kind of tend to agree with the AP a little more after going through and looking at some highlights and reading up on Cincinnati a little bit. Number 8, in all honesty, I think that's where they could end up. I think that's where they should end up at the end of the season. Could they be on the outside looking in when it comes to the Final Four? Yeah, they really could. They are that kind of a squad. They are expected to continue to get better. Everybody expects that program to continue to get better and stronger as the years go on. There is something about a vibe that Cincinnati has, and obviously both polls are catching the vibe. North Carolina, number 9. Again, a team that I'm shocked about. Coaches poll has them at 9. AP has them at 10. In my personal opinion, I don't even have them in the top 25. And if you're going to have that, once in a lifetime opportunity for a small school to get into the poll at all, I'd be looking for them to be somewhere between 23 and 25. I don't know why they're dropped in the top 10 in regards to the coaches poll, or why they're even at number 10 for the AP top 25. But you know what? This week is going to tell me a lot in regards to the poll, the teams, and where the polls are with the pulse in regards to the actual programs themselves. Iowa State coming in at number 8. So number 7 on the AP top 25, number 8 on the coaches poll. Iowa State is a program that has been well coached for years, has had some disappointments in regards to where they could have ended, where they could have landed, and then how the season actually ends up ending. So they got to tighten up some things. And it looks like the polls in regards to the coaches poll in the AP top 25 believe that they do have the structure in place in order to tighten it up. Because, again, Iowa State is kind of one of those schools that's, being the bottom end of the top 25, and then they got knocked out, and then they got to try and work their way back in. That's kind of been, the formula for them for a while. So for them to be at number 8 again on the coaches poll, sounds like it's going to be a very promising year. Again, a lot of people have had a lot of positive things to say about Iowa State. Everybody believes the program's getting better. Much like Cincinnati, there seems to be a vibe. So obviously people are starting to catch the vibe. Number 7, Notre Dame. Years past, they would have been higher. So I'm kind of wondering why Notre Dame falls to 7, in all honesty. I would expect them to be at 5 or 6. They have always been very, very high in the polls in regards to the beginning of the season. So again, for Notre Dame to be at number 7, I am a little surprised. So on the coaches poll, 7. On the AP, number 9. And again, coaches poll, I believe, has a better pulse. But with that being said, I think they're both still a little off when it comes to Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is actually, more along the lines of maybe 5, 4, 3, maybe. And again, we're talking about the start of the season. I'm not talking about where they're going to end their season, but I'm talking about when you're talking about to the rankings of the beginning of the season, I would imagine, in my personal opinion, Notre Dame should have landed, 5, 4, 3, somewhere in that area. Number 6, Texas A&M. I think they're starting, as I stated yesterday, where they're going to end. They're going to be right on the outside looking in. A&M, the program getting better, getting a lot better structure, getting a lot stronger, getting a lot better recruits. Things have been looking up for Texas A&M. The recruiting classes are getting better and better for A&M, and I believe they'll only continue to get better. And Texas A&M 6, in all honesty, I would not be shocked if they ended at 6. At worst, they'll end 8. But I think, honestly, they're going to finish where they began. Now moving up to number 5, Georgia's Bulldogs. They are both in the AP Top 25 in the coaches poll, number 5. So looks like both polls feel exactly the same way about Georgia. They're going to be just on the cusp of the outside looking in. However, when you're starting at 5, you do have the opportunity to break the top 4. And I think there are a lot of questions about the top teams outside of who is number 1. Ohio State, number 4. One of the teams that Georgia will be competing with in order to make the actual playoff. Ohio State, number 4 across the board on the coaches poll and the AP Top 25. Are they going to stay in the top 4? Are they going to end up in the playoff at the end of the year? That's the question to be answered. A lot of people feel that this could be a shot for Ohio State to win the national title. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Oklahoma, there is a school that a lot of people are going to be taking pot shots at. Again, Texas and Oklahoma leaving, going to the SEC. There's a lot of people on the SEC side that are going to look to prove to Oklahoma and Texas that they don't belong. There's going to be a lot of people in their current divisions that are looking to prove to them how upset they are. It's like there's going to be a big target on the backs of Oklahoma. I don't know if Oklahoma's going to have what it takes this year to withstand that big, giant bullet hole that could potentially be entering their back, because there is going to be a bullseye all over it. All right, number 2, Clemson. This is right. Again, Clemson, number 2. I don't really dispute this at all. That sounds about right to me. They're definitely going to make the playoff this year, in my opinion. Alabama being number 1, just like they were yesterday in the AP Top 25. Again, so I think number 1 and number 2 are secure. The question for me is who is going to be number 3 and who is going to be number 4. That's the question. That's what we have yet to get answered. So that concludes the top 25 in regards to the AP and the coaches poll for the NCAA. Now let's talk a little NFL. All right, so I've been complaining for a while, national media, been trying to make a bunch of controversy where controversy doesn't exist in regards to starting quarterbacks. Now, we all know Chicago. They outlined who their starting quarterback's going to be. It's going to be Andy Dalton. Of course, the national media not accepting it. I heard some promos running where the national media guys are saying, on Monday, I'm going to tell you who earned the right to be the starting quarterback. Guess what, national media? You don't get to make the decision. That's why there's a thing called coaches, and FYI, the decisions have already been made. So quit whining, quit acting like you got to say so, shut your mouths, and just listen to what the coaches are saying. How about doing that every now and then, national media guys? I don't care if you're a former NFL player. Quit trying to create controversy where there is none. That's the most annoying thing in the world. But anyways, look, the only thing I can say is uniformly, everybody agrees. I would even throw myself in the hat. At some point, Justin Fields is going to play. Is he going to be a starting quarterback? I say the only way Justin Fields comes in and becomes a starting quarterback is if the Bears just do not have a shot at the playoffs. Look, here's the deal. Are you really thinking Justin Fields, a pure rookie, can walk in with no offensive line and take a team that is traditionally bad, got a pretty decent defense, but they haven't played well in the past couple of years? Do you think Justin Fields is the secret sauce to get the Chicago Bears to the playoffs? Seriously, think about that for a moment. Does it sound like Justin Fields is the secret sauce? You got no offensive line. You got a defense that's played bad over the past couple of years. And on paper, they're supposed to be one of the top 8 defenses in the NFL. But they played bad over the past couple of years. So how is Justin Fields going to fix your bad defense and get your offense to become a well-oiled machine? Plus, here's the reason why you don't want to start him. Now, for every team, I could make the argument there's a rhyme and a reason why you don't want to start the rookie quarterbacks. And each one of those rhymes and reasons is probably different. But if we're specifically talking about Justin Fields, the reason why you don't want to start him is you don't have an offensive line. This guy's going to be running for his life the entire season. How is that going to, A, build his confidence, and B, more importantly, how is that going to keep him healthy? If he's not standing upright and he's laying on his back most of the time, whether he's taking hits after the throw, whether he's taking the hits as he delivers, whether he's taking the hits from running, how are you going to expect this guy to be healthy at the end of the year and ready for year number 2, where hopefully you make the right decisions in regards to the offensive line and get him something structured so that he can actually have some protection? Because if you think that putting him back there and dropping into a max protection scheme is going to be the way to make Justin Fields the secret sauce for your team to be effective and make the playoffs, that's going to pretty much make you one-dimensional. Think about that for a moment. It's going to make you one-dimensional. So putting in Justin Fields, being in a hurry to put Justin Fields, it's just the national media trying to find something to talk about because, again, these guys aren't really good at doing research and finding out what the real stories are. They just make something up. And if you notice, whatever they make up, 8 days later, they're still talking about the exact same thing, which for the last 3 weeks has been, who's going to be the starting quarterback in Chicago? Who's going to be the starting quarterback in San Francisco? Which bumps me up to San Francisco. How bad does the national media guy look when Sunday you saw what Shanahan said you were going to see? He showed you what the offense for the 49ers is going to be. Alternating quarterbacks, and it's going to be situational play, and he is going to beat you with a two-headed monster, much like college coaches used to do years ago. So Shanahan has actually shown you, and I know some of you are probably sitting there saying, oh, they're not going to do that in the regular season. Yes, we know that they're going to trade off quarterbacks, but it's going to be a series at a time, and it's going to be like when Jimmy G's got command of the game and he's already got the game in hand, then they'll put in Trey, or maybe it'll be a specific, red zone where they need Trey's legs. But Jimmy G has legs too. It's the part that the national media doesn't want to give him credit for. But Jimmy G has legs too. But let's just play devil's advocate and say Jimmy G doesn't have legs. You bring in Trey because they say you're going to bring in Trey, and then bring him in situationally. Okay. And maybe perhaps that would be somewhat some of what Shanahan's going to do. However, I would easily make the argument that what you saw on Sunday is what you're going to see week 1 moving forward with that 49ers offense. They're going to be deadly. And for all of the people who said that the Rams are going to be the NFC West champs, and of course, don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of you that said that the 49ers are going to be the NFC West champs. Matter of fact, and there's a lot of you that have arguably said that the 49ers are going to be the Super Bowl champs. I get that. But for all of you that said the Rams are going to win the NFC West, and why do weekend sports guys always say outlandish stuff? For the weekend guys, for the only guys whacked out of their mind, crazy enough to say that the Arizona Cardinals are going to win the NFC West. And again, I don't know what you're smoking, but you need to share it. But the bottom line is the Arizona Cardinals have the 4th best roster in the NFC West. They got the 4th best coach and arguably the 32nd ranked coach in the NFL. And you think somehow that formula is going to make you NFC West champs over the Rams, let alone the 49ers? Come on, let's be a little more realistic. But moving forward, what we're talking about specifically here is a two-headed monster. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. What you saw on Sunday is what you're going to see all season long. Defenses are not going to know how to prepare for this because you're not going to know what to prepare for because Shanahan has showed you situationally he's just going to make up his mind and away they go. And did you see the switch offs? It looked like linebackers switching off between a third down package and a first down package. It was absolutely incredible. They are well oiled. They're prepared. They are going to launch like a missile on their way to the moon. I think the 49ers are definitely going to be one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. And again, they are, in my opinion, one of the favorites to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying win the Super Bowl, but they are one of the top 3 favored to win the NFC. Unlike you crazy national guys who want to feed the narrative that, oh, the Dallas Cowboys, oh, just like you guys say every year. And what's it been? 25 years? And you have one playoff victory in 25 years, and yet you same national guys who get paid a ton of money, and you run your mouth getting paid a ton of money to run your mouth, saying how the Cowboys are going to do this and the Cowboys are going to do that. And yet every year you get embarrassed and show how little you know about football by saying the Cowboys are going to do this and the Cowboys are going to do that. And yet the Cowboys have one playoff win in 25 years. Can you say embarrassed? Not only for you to be able to run your mouth and say the Cowboys are going to be the only team to compete with Tampa Bay for the NFC, but since you've been spewing this same garbage for 25 years and you've been wrong for 25 years, you think at some point you would have shut up and stopped saying this garbage. But again, you'll be wrong. And again, I'll be right. And again, at the end of the year, I'll be the one gloating. I'll be the one dancing on your bad choices because I'll be the one right. Look, Tampa Bay is not going to make the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay is not going to make the NFC Championship. They're not good enough of a team. They never were. Last year was a fluke. Every year there's a fluke. Even the Arizona Cardinals made the Super Bowl once. What happened? They lost. Every now and then there's a fluke. The Phoenix Suns made the NBA Finals this year. It was a fluke. Guess what happened? They lost. That's what happens with flukes. And every now and then you get one where they win. It's still called a fluke because if you can't repeat, if you can't do it over and over, if you can't wash, rinse, repeat, and get the same results over and over, it was a fluke. That's what's going to happen to the Suns. That's what's going to happen to Tampa Bay. That's also what's going to happen to the Milwaukee Bucks, the other fluke that made it to the finals, but they just happen to be the fluke that won. So they're not going to be able to wash, rinse, repeat, and make it back to the NBA Finals either. So no, Tampa Bay is not, in my opinion, favored to do anything in the NFC. The Cowboys are not favored to do anything in the NFC. They'll be lucky to get out of their division. I think Washington could actually win that division. But Dallas would be lucky to get out of that division, let alone they'll be on the outside looking in regards to a wild card spot. So it's going to be the NFC West with 3 teams more than likely making the playoffs. Seattle, obviously. How can you count out Russell Wilson? That's stupid. The Rams, they're going to be good. I question how good they're going to be. I'm not sold on Matt Stafford. I don't think this move is great for the Rams. I don't think it's great for Matt Stafford. I don't think Matt Stafford is the secret sauce for the Rams. He was never that for Detroit. So why do you think he's going to be that for the Rams? The 49ers, what you saw Sunday, folks, is what you're going to get beaten down on you week in and week out. And it's going to be fun for me, a 49er fan, to watch. Keep in mind, I've always told you, and I always will tell you, just because I have a team doesn't mean I'm going to tell you the best or that they're the greatest, because that's not what I do. Because if I did, I would have talked up the Suns like crazy. But I'm realistic. I know what they are. I know what they're not. I know what the 49ers are, and I know what they're not. And what they are is one of the best teams in football. What they're not is one of the worst teams in football. What they're not is going to be at the bottom of the NFC West. What they are is going to be at the top of the NFC West, probably at the top of the NFC, and probably making the Super Bowl. So for all these national media guys that make all these crazy picks, Dallas, Same one as every year. I think the networks pay him to say this dumb statement. Tampa Bay, joke, not a great team. Coaching, B. Quarterback, B. Even in his prime, B. And he's a system quarterback. System quarterback. Look at it this way. Tom Brady, a system quarterback who won the Super Bowl last year and won Super Bowls with New England in a system that was controlled by Bill Belichick. Then he goes to Bruce Arians, a air it down the road type of a coach. He wants to air it out all day, all day, all day, all day. They started off that way. They tried it that way. How did it work out? It didn't. Then what happened? Tom Brady started audibly calling his own offense, running a different offense from the one that Arians runs. Dink and dunk. System, very, 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 very close to remotely looking like another system that Tom Brady used to play with for years and years and years. Brady's a system. But again, last year, I said it 100 times, no intensity, no fans in the stands. People don't have their adrenaline running without the fans. Those players weren't even fully rostered because you had a lot of guys opting out because of COVID. You had guys getting opted out because they got infected with COVID. It was not a season of 100% participation. They were glorified practices. That's all it was. And it was a basically farce that Tampa Bay won the title. They're not one of the best. I'm going to be laughing at all of you that say they are. I'm going to be laughing at all of you that said that they're going to run it back and they're going to be in the Super Bowl again. I'm going to laugh at you for all of you who said that it's going to be a repeat of last year's Super Bowl. Kansas City, who also is not going to make the Super Bowl, not because they're bad, not because they're horrible, not because they're suck, just because the AFC has gotten that much better, that much more competitive, and now you got a quarterback in Kansas City who's getting paid, so you're not able to pay all your players, and you lost some players off your roster in Kansas City. So, with that being said, Kansas City's not going to make it. Tampa Bay, for other reasons, because they are not that good, are not going to make it. And this is going to be a battle where one of the three teams from the NFC West is going to be the team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. All right, so that's all I have to say on that. Hey, you guys have a great day. Don't forget, go to the Twitter page at Yay or Nay Podcast. Answer the Yay or Nay questions. I got some more answers for you. I'll lay them on you tomorrow. You guys have a great day.